Oversized and on the road. Two separate houses being moved, then stuck on Austin streets late last year. And a wind turbine blade that took a wrong turn. When problems like that happen, they're not only an inconvenience for other drivers, but they can also be dangerous, even deadly. Like it was for a mother and son who died after colliding with a mobile home that was off route in Bastrop County. After we first investigated the problem 2 years ago, state leaders told us they were working to give the Texas Department of Public Safety more money and resources for inspections of oversized vehicles like semi-trucks.
But we discovered the legislature actually rejected nearly $100 million in funding for that very purpose. Part of the concern now, KXAN investigator Robert Maxwell has discovered mobile homes. Robert?
Yes, and the images you're about to see may be difficult for some viewers. But we feel it's important to understand the potential danger when you're driving beside one of those particular oversized loads.
She wasn't just my wife, she was my best friend. We did everything together.
Michael Field's wife, Aline, was driving home on Highway 79 in Round Rock in November of 2014. Just ahead of her, two tractor trailers, each hauling half of a mobile home, stopped on the side of the road after a wheel came off. Arlene slammed into the rear of one of them.
Oh, God. I suddenly became the sole caretaker of two young children.
Photos show the 16-foot wide load partially inside the lane.
I lost my partner in life. I mean, the world stopped for a while.
Michael received a payout from the hauler, Glenn's Mobile Home Service.
Do you have any idea why the wheel came off?
Other than the tires and axles are recycled. They're reused over and over.
The company's drivers were called to testify in a lawsuit Michael filed against mobile home manufacturer Palm Harbor Homes and its parent company, Cavco Industries. Among the suit's allegations, the companies failed to remedy the dangers of wheels falling off mobile home trailers, and that tires flying off the axle or going flat was so common that movers of manufactured homes would drive with several spare wheels just in case. The owner of the hauling company says in this deposition he tried to discuss the issue repeatedly with Palm Harbor.
They keep building the houses bigger and heavier, and it seems they're inclined to put less axles under them than they used to.
In their response to the lawsuit, Palm Harbor and Cavco Industries deny the allegations and any wrongdoing. We checked Cavco's federal safety record and found 14 safety and maintenance violations in the past 2 years. For the two Palm Harbor entities in Texas, 24 safety violations in that same time period. None of those involve hauling a mobile home. These companies are not alone. We found lawsuits across the state against others. The allegations? A tractor trailer's tires came off, injuring another driver. A hauler died in a rollover because the truck, trailer, and tires weren't properly maintained. And another driver was injured in a crash when a mobile home blocked part of the road. Do you feel these regulations are stringent enough to prevent unexpected failures?
I've personally seen these homes taken through a lot of things that they were not designed to be taken through.
A private mobile home inspector tells us meeting federal guidelines is required before the homes leave the factory. After that point, inspections can be spotty.
I've also seen them transported down the road at speeds that are way excessive and beyond what the regulations allow.
Once they're on the road, it's up to law enforcement, namely the Texas Department of Public Safety, to look for violators and pull over any oversized vehicles. And state inspection stations are also supposed to help catch less obvious safety hazards. Despite some lawmakers' support, budget decisions at the Capitol mean DPS can't keep inspection stations open 24/7. In fact, the number of staff at those stations has gone down since the last legislative session. But DPS has requested more money for commercial vehicle enforcement this session. It would be enough for an additional 15 high-tech inspection stations and to upgrade technology at other existing stations. DPS has told lawmakers that a smaller budget would reduce the agency's ability to remove unsafe commercial drivers and vehicles from the highways.
We want all of our commercial trucking and commercial hauling to be acting with the utmost safety.
Representative Ron Simmons, who sits on the House Transportation Committee, says oversized vehicles remain a funding challenge.
Our overall transportation is making sure that we have the right amount of money going into the right projects.
Safety is always a priority. So under our safety, net, I think that'd be something we look at.
Basically, all I'm looking for is closure from everyone.
Michael Fields says he hopes his wife's death helps wake up lawmakers and the mobile home industry.
So of all this sorrow, maybe there's a positive takeaway?
There can be if it makes some changes in the system, step up and do the right thing. Fix those problems.
We reached out to Cavco Industries and Palm Harbor for comment, but neither would speak because of the pending lawsuit. We also discovered last year DPS inspected more than 450,000 commercial vehicles. This year, with less money, it's expected that Public Safety Agency will inspect about 15% fewer. So we'll be checking back this legislative session as our lawmakers craft the state budget to see where this important funding concern lands. In Austin, I'm Robert Maxwell. Back to you.
Robert, thank you. And we found there is actually another state agency that regulates oversized vehicles and companies.
But it usually only conducts inspections or audits after a complaint comes in. In the past 5 years, the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles received more than 2,800 of those complaints. Most of those came from the DPS after troopers issued a citation or after a crash involving an oversized load. We asked the DMV's head of enforcement why its investigators don't look at mobile home trailers before they hit the road.
I don't believe it would be feasible considering the number of permits that we issue each year. There's literally tens of thousands of permits issued. We're relying on the trucker, the motor carrier, to provide us the proper information so we issue the correct permit.
The DMV does issue permits for commercial vehicle drivers, which is the only type of permit a person hauling a mobile home needs. However, there are other guidelines they have to follow, like specific travel routes for oversized loads.
So what should you look for if you believe a mobile home on the highway might be a safety risk? DMV rules show if the load is wider than 16 feet, it needs to have flashing lights, signs reading wide load, and at least one pilot or escort vehicle. Right now online, we have links on where you can send your complaints to start the ball rolling on a possible inspection. Just check out this story in the investigative section of KXAN.com.